everyone, and welcome to my video where I'm going to be showing you guys how to implement dependency injection into your web forms applications, unit tests, and then mocking some of your repositories for that. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So if you guys haven't watched my videos of the overviews for all this stuff already, I would recommend to do so because they go over everything in detail. I'm not going to really talk much. Unless I think that there needs to be something said. But this is just for you guys to kind of watch and follow along. And yeah, so anyway, I hope this helps. Let's get started. So first things first, I want to go ahead and make sure that I am on the right branch. So I'm going to go ahead and check that right now. Pull in the latest. Okay, and I'm going to name this branch. Recordings week 11. And publish. Okay, so now I have a new branch. So I guess first things first, I'm going to go and create a new project. Yep, unit test. I'm going to select .NET Framework one with C#. I'm going to name it CS412 final BISA and then tests. .tests. So same name as this, create. Okay, cool. So I don't need this unit test. So what I'm going to want to unit test here is going to be my order BLL. So I'm not going to implement unit tests for all of these. I'm just going to show a few. That way you guys kind of understand how to do it. And yeah, because it's going to take a long time to implement it for all. So first thing is first, I need to copy BLL. So can I actually order BLL? Okay, yes I can. So I downloaded a boilerplate to give me this option to create unit test boilerplate. So all I have to do is click this, create it in here, and then create. So it automatically creates all of these tests for me, um, which is great, but I actually don't want them. But if you look at what it did was it copied the BLL. So because I created a test, I want to create a test off of order BLL, and it's in the BLL folder up here. In our test project, it did the same thing. It created a BLL folder, and it gave it the same name, but it appended tests to the file name. So just make sure that you do that as well. Let's get rid of some of these because I'm not going to actually do them. Arrange act and assert. Yeah, so we don't have mock. So we need to right click here, manage NuGet packages, and then add mock. Click OK. Okay, so now we have mock installed. All right. So now we want to, let's say, we want to make sure that the orders that are returned from here, or let's say get order. Where's my get order function? That my order that's returned from here, that this is returning the correct total for the order, because that's pretty important. So we want to make sure that that functionality is good. So I'm going to create so get order, and then I'm going to do state under test total is correct, and then I expect returns order. So this will return me an order. So arrange, first actually let's do arrange. Could add the reference. And then in our initialization for the test, we want to do so we want to create an order. Ordered by user 1. This order should have this is actually a list. Let's do order ID for 1, so that way it throws these order services into this order. Let's do service with a price of 6. Another service with a price of 4. And then we don't care about anything else really about this, but it will need it. What we're really trying to test is this, that the pricing is correct when we check the order's price. So then we want to assert, we'll do that for now, and then we'll want to assert, all right, we'll want to assert is not, what we got back is not null. And we want to assert that the is true, that the order that we got back, that the total is 10. And since it's a decimal, we put M. So we want to make sure that it's not null and that the test, when it goes through here, when it gets the order and it associates the services with the order right here, that when that happens, the order takes in the correct price, because you can see here that the function to get the order's total is the sum of the services. So so that's what this is going to test. Close this. So that's what happens when get orders executes this associate services with orders. Or where is it? Down here. And it does that assigning right here. So here we need to do give it that. Now this won't work because we need dependency injection. Like we created all this, and so we need to mock. Well, yeah, private mock. We need our order repository. So here are our mocks. Now the problem is, when we do this, it's still going to create the repositories, and it's going to try and hit up our database because we're not mocking it. We need to mock it. So we need to be able to pass in mock repositories to here. So we need to take this out of here. No, actually, we can keep these here for now. And we need to, instead of doing the assigning like this here, we need to pass in, we need to do some dependency injection. Reason being is because, so here, this is going to be a little easier to see. So reason being is because, so now with the dependency injection, we're still able to use this. But the reason why we want to use dependency injection in here for our mock is because if we didn't, and we just simply called this, we created a new class, and we just called this method, it would utilize the actual implementations in here, where we want to actually utilize the mock. Like we don't want we don't want this being called. Like we don't want it to call the get order count inside the repository. We just want it to return our mocked object like we're doing here. Like these are our mock objects. So we need to pass in now our mocks, and we do that like this. Service and user. So pass in our mock repositories. So now when it gets called, because we're passing it in, it's going to use the mock version of these repositories rather than the actual implementation. So now we can set up our mocking here for the repositories. So whenever the order repository, so let's set this up. Whenever get order is called, I want it to return order. So whenever the get order function inside this order repository gets called, so let's go into it. So whenever this gets called, don't even bother going into the database and looking for it, is what I'm saying. What I'm saying here is whenever this gets called, return this order. So what it's going to do is it's going to go here. It's going to see this function. It's going to go here. And it's going to skip through all of this. It's going to skip through this and just return my mocked order, which is this, and not actually go into the database. So now my order here in the BLL is going to be my mocked order. And then now it's going to continue to do some business logic off of that. So let's go back here. Let's set up our service repository. So let's see. Then it does this. It checks for null, and then it goes in here. Associate services with orders. So here's the other repository that it's calling, the service repository, and here's a function. So we want to mock this too because we don't want it to hit the database. So get order services. Let's copy this function. So whenever it's a list, is any list of long, then whenever that repository gets called, then return this object. So now our BLL so now this is going to return this list right here and not actually hit the database. So now it's going to do some business logic off of this list. And then let's see what else this class or this function does. It associates users with the order. So here it is up here, actually. So this calls the user repository, so we need to mock that too. And what was the function? Get users. Wait, this is, oh, yeah, a list. And returns this list of users that I have right here. So now this should run correctly. And I can do that by going to Test Explorer. And I'm just going to run all. All right, now because I'm doing dependency injection. Oh, wait. I actually didn't include dependency injection in here. And I need to remove this. Okay, so to include dependency injection, we gotta add, because WebForms doesn't automatically come with dependency injection. So dependency injection Unity. Whoop. And then I'm going to download this one, Waveforms dependency injection.unity. Okay, so I got this. So yep, so now because I'm doing dependency injection, I need to fix all this. So in my control, well, let's go first to let's go first into global.asax. So here I want to do this and then add Unity. And then, so I will want to do container.register. What's this do? Anyway, so I want to do here register type. And then I will want to do my dependency injection. So here order BLL. It's going to use order BLL implementation. I need to, I don't know why I didn't bring this in, but I need to do that. And then container, you know what, let's just, I user, I order repository. Service repository. So now what this is saying is whenever it sees I order repository as a parameter in the constructor, it's going to replace it with the order repository implementation. That way you don't have to keep passing it in over and over. And for our test, we're able to utilize our test now with dependency injection. So we still have some issues here. So let's go back to Test Explorer and try to run this. You'll see here that this controller is depending on this I order BLL, right? So this is fine, but now we want to do, instead of assigning it order BLL, because now it, you got to pass in these three things. What we'll do here, we don't want to do that. So we'll do I order BLL and then order BLL and then order BLL. So now it's going to assign this to this. And you remember how we had to pass in the three repositories into this? Well, what this is going to do now is it's going to, because we specified it in our global.asax, it knows what to replace these with. So it knows what to replace this with. So it knows which implementation of I order repository to use when doing this. So let's close out of all this. And so now That is that for that. Error list. Just click next. Do the same here. So now this is in our dashboard page. You know, same thing. You can do this with ASPX pages. Just create a constructor. And then I order BLL. And then order BLL equals order. And then I'll order services, same thing here. Now we have this one right here, but let's not worry about this one yet. Order BLL. So great, now you can see that I ran my tests and everything turned back okay. So let's go into our test here. And let's say that, you know, we were expecting this to return 11. Well, no, let's say that we're expecting this to return 10, but for some reason, you know, another developer came in and they were like, okay, yeah, the services sum is the total of the order is the services sum plus an extra, you know, $50. So now let's run these tests again. It fails because of this assertion. Fails because of this assertion. So on line 69 it says. And that's because now it's returning 60, right? So it's 10 and then plus a 50. So this is how you would tell if the developer, you know, if there's a bug in the code or something by doing these types of tests. That's why they help to prevent these types of bugs. And let's just quickly step through this. And so I will place a breakpoint right here. I'll show you guys if I click, you know, run all. Runs a test, but it never breakpointed. So what I need to do is I can select debug here. I can select debug here, whatever. So I'm going to just debug this specific function. Now you can see that it broke there. So here it's doing all that. Here it's setting up our mocks. And here it's acting upon it. So let's go into this and see what's actually happening in the mocking. So here you can see that I passed in an order ID of 1 inside my test right here. Doesn't really matter though, but just so you guys know. And then you can see here that it's about to go into this repository and get the order. So let's step into this and see what's happening. As you can see, it didn't actually step into it. So what happened was that it just automatically assigned this order the same as this. So it set it up as the mock. So here I said for order repository, whenever the get order within that order repository, whenever the get order function gets called, then return this order right here. And that's what happened here. So you know, let me move this back over here. I'm going to step into it again, but it didn't step. And you can see, you know, ID is 1 and ordered by ID equals 1, which is the same thing as this order right here. And then let's continue going. And let's let's go into this associate service with orders function. Again, we have this. I'm going to try and step into it, but you already know that it's mocked. The service repository is mocked whenever this function gets called. And it's set to return me this list. A list of 2 with 6 and 4 as the prices. So it's not going to actually go into my database. So here I'm going to try and step into it. But it didn't. But it did return me those 2 mocked orders of price 6 and a price 4. Now it's going to do some business logic behind that. So this is what we're testing, the business logic. Now you can already see that the total is 10. And that it assigned it the services. The business logic assigned it the service. So this is exactly what we're writing the test for. And then, this just did the same thing, but it went into the users repository instead, and we're mocking the users repository. And yeah, and then here it's doing the assertions. So this isn't null. So this assertion is going to pass. Assert that is not null, ret. And this assertion is also going to pass because the value here is 10. And then find code coverage is really nice. You can see here that I only have like 4% code coverage within my project. So the more code coverage you have, typically the better quality that your application is going to be. So I mean, this is kind of like the same thing for other functions. So it's really copy and paste for the functions. So to do these types of tests, they shouldn't take very long. If they do take long, just think about exactly what you're testing. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to post in the comments or let me know. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe if you want to be notified whenever new videos come out. All right, everyone. Thanks.